All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me make sure my mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Those of you on the live, can you hear me okay? Am I audible? Want to make sure you guys can hear me clearly before I begin. Can you hear me clearly in the live chat? Can you drop me a yes or a thumbs up? Can you drop a mic check? Mic check. Mic check. Can you all hear me okay? Can you drop a thumbs up or yes in the live chat? Make sure my mic is on and you all can hear me clearly. Let me know in the live chat if you can hear me clearly. Mic check, mic check. Can you all drop a thumbs up or yes in the chat? All right, so hopefully you all can hear me okay. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the pre-market prep. All right, so I focus, again, the format is very simple. I focus specifically on Tesla in the pre-market prep. However, if you have questions about other stocks, we can go over that as well. But my primary target is Tesla. That's the stock that I like to trade stock options with. And the format is simple. Basically, I go over scheduled red and orange folder news that could potentially impact both Tesla and the overall markets today. It could impact it either positively or negatively. So I'll take a look at that first. Then I'll take a look at Tesla specific news that has dropped recently that could also negatively or positively impact the market coming into today's session. All right. Also, I want to take a look at a quick recap of what I did last week in terms of my trade last week and specifically Friday. So you all have the opportunity to continue to see the progress and ask questions, right? So I can highlight that so you can ask specific questions about what I was thinking, my mindset, and so on. All right. And then finally, I'll go into what I expect from Tesla coming into the market today. So I'll go over that in closing. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Actually, let me just go ahead and let's do the day trading journal or last week trade recap. So let me pull up my day trading journal. The journal that I use, by the way, is a free journal. So anyone can use it. It's free to open up an account and begin logging your day trades. Is what you can also log your practice trades. All right. If you're going to follow along and begin practicing using paper money within your brokerage account, feel free to log those in your journal because that's going to be important. And I'll show you why as we continue each session. All right, or continue in future sessions. All right, so let's take a look at last week, what I did so far. Let me zoom in just a little bit so everyone can see here on TikTok. Let me stretch this out a little bit. Oops. Going to stretch this out. Okay, so now, all right, so here's my current here's my current year to date, right? 8,000, a little over 8,000. So I just crossed over 8,000 last week, Friday. All right. So let's go over a couple of those trades. Let's take a look at what I did last week. And let me move this out of the way so you all can see. I might have to move this up a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so last week, Monday, one trade, $96.76. On the 22nd, 1674. On the 23rd, I took one trade. That was a loss, $481. On the 24th, this was a notable trade. I talked about this one in the pre-market prep, as well as I did a specific trade recap on this one. This was $416.26. All right, $430.26 on Thursday. And then on Friday, $173 and change. Okay. So I ended the week in the green. Let me zoom over a little bit, make sure y'all can see that. $222 last week. All right. So the week prior was 1.5, almost 1.6K. Then the week before that, 2.2K. All right. And then the first week of July, just $12 and change. All right. So you can see so far so good. Like I'm really focusing on being patient, not rushing myself into trades. As you can see, if you notice last week, I only took one trade each day. All right, one trade. I was green the entire month, and we only have one leak, or excuse me, this is the last week of July. So we have today, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So my goal is to close out the month strong. All right. It's potentially I could hit based on my previous week's performance. I could earn anywhere between another 1,000 to $2,000 this week. It just depends on what the market does. And that's why we're going to take a look at scheduled news and any recent news that might have dropped to see what the market is doing and how it might react to that news, right? Because it could impact the stock that I'm interested in or that you're interested in and the overall markets positively or negatively. So we need to stay abreast on the news that's dropping periodically to make sure we're not in a trade where the trade begins to work against us, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at scheduled news. This is red and orange folder news that could potentially impact the market. So the source that I use is forexfactory.com, forexfactory.com. This is a free resource, forexfactory.com. Let me zoom in so you can see that. Oops. Forexfactory.com. It's a free website. Like I said, anyone can use it. Okay. You can access it from your mobile device or a laptop. And today it looks like we don't have any news, any scheduled news coming into today. So we don't have any scheduled red or orange folder news coming into today. So today will be pretty cool. It should be a pretty clean day. I'm expecting a day three mover from Tesla, and I'll explain that why here in a second. Day three move on Tesla. Okay, we are up today. So I'm expecting, man, this could be a big move for Tesla. So we'll see. So first, before we jump into the charts, let's see what we have for any Tesla specific news. So I'm going to click on the Tesla news tab. Hopefully y'all can see that. Let me make sure I adjust the view here for you all. All right. So I'm going to click on the Tesla news tab so we can check out any news that might have dropped recently that could either negatively or positively impact Tesla's direction coming into the session today. If you have any questions, let me pause here for a brief bit and state if you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the live chat and I'll pause periodically and check to make sure I'm answering all of your questions. Or you can feel free to DM me your questions and I will get to every single question. Trust me. All right. I will not leave you hanging. All right. So let me do a quick skim through and see what headers might be of interest. That's what I do every day. Coming into the pre-market prep, I take a look at what news might have dropped recently to see what could positively or negatively impact Tesla coming into today. So as you can see here, we have the time frame in which this news had dropped. So 6 minutes ago, I'm just going to do a quick skim through, so bear with me. I'm going to go silent here for a moment, but feel free to drop your questions in the live chat if you have any. But I'm just going to skim through and see if I see anything of interest that could impact Tesla. Let's see, Elon and Tesla's 30 trillion AI supersonic tsunami. This is good. Let's take a look at this. I'll open that. Let's see. Elon Musk picks Samsung for Tesla AI chips. Really? Huh. I'll take a look at that as well. These stocks are moving the most. Nope. Trump's EU trade deal is a big win. Stock market. Okay. So we definitely want to take a look at this because anytime Trump news drops, if it's positive, then the market reacts positively. If it's negative, then the markets react negatively. So we'll take a look at that. Let me take a look at a few more headlines and then we can take a look at those three to see what's mentioned. All right. So chip equipment makers lead Europe's gains on tariff exemption. Wow. Okay, cool. Tesla shares rise pre-market after Trump EU reached tariff deal. So this is exactly what I mentioned. Okay. So Trump makes a move. If it's positive, it could definitely impact the market today. So I'm expecting Tesla to probably go crazy today, man. I might take a larger position. Normally I was testing the cheaper contracts for Tesla. So I could demonstrate for everyone who's interested how you can still make money trading the cheaper contracts. So I still might trade the cheaper contracts, but I might take more position today. So if my position sizing will likely increase. So if you take a look here, just as an example, what I mean by that is I'll zoom in so you all can see my entry total on average. It will be anywhere between like, close to $2,000 or maybe a little bit a little bit larger. All right. But up to that point, so no more than 3,000. So I was taking positions of like $1,000 to $3,000. All right. So today I might do as high as 10 to 50,000. All right. It just depends. If I see Tesla moving today, same thing that I've discussed in previous pre-market live sessions, right? I talked about what we're looking for, and I'm going to demonstrate this visually on the chart. All right. So, but I talked about the things that I'm looking for, the conditions that I'm looking for. And this is what helped me make that quick $430 in 26 seconds on Thursday. And this is how I made, over $200 for the AMD trade that I talked about Friday. Okay. So I posted those live replays in the folder. So everyone who DM'd me Friday and last week that wanted to see those live replays to recap, to replay those, I uploaded those in the folder last week. So if you didn't get a chance to see the live replay last week, feel free to DM me. Let me know that you want to catch those replays. I'll share with you the link. It's free. All right. So you can check that out. But yeah, coming into today, I might take a larger position of anywhere between 10K to 50K. So it just depends. If I see Tesla moving like AMD did Friday, because let me show you really quick. We might as well just go ahead and jump into it. But let me rewind a little bit. Let's go ahead and check out this EU deal. Let's see first. I don't want to skip. All right. So let's go ahead and keep the format, and then I'll jump into the chart and we can go over that. All right, so when stock markets still face, get out the way, still face these risks. Okay, so better the devil you know seems to be the current market motto. President Donald Trump's trade deal with EU will relieve some of the uncertainty about the global economy, but there are more hazards to negotiate in a big week for investors. The EU deal cements 15% as the baseline tariff for imported goods to the U.S., broadly the same as the agreement with Japan. that leaves China as the big trade question to be resolved. And with talks taking place between Beijing and Washington officials this week, a grand bargain could be coming. So we'll keep an eye out on that. That's going to be critical because if you're planning on taking trades, you don't want to take a you don't want to take a long position. Um, let's say over the weekend or something like that, if they haven't reached an agreement, because let's say if China backs out of the deal for whatever reason, and that could significantly impact your position, for negatively impact your position, and you could lose either the entire position or a significant portion of it. So be careful if you're planning on trading. If you haven't seen this news, if you're not day trading, obviously, if you're day trading, it may not impact you too much. You may be in and out before that impact occurs. But anyway, so keep an eye out on that. So a clear road ahead for the market rally. Not quite. Tariffs still act as a tax on consumers, at least according to classical economic theory. Setting the rate is one thing, dealing with the results is another. Okay, so we'll keep an eye out on that as well. So we have the gist of the information that we were looking for coming until today. Let's see, a rate cut is more likely to happen in September. Okay, we'll keep an eye out on that as well. Let's take a look at this. Elon Musk picks Samsung for Tesla AI chips. Surprise. I wonder why they didn't go with NVIDIA. Let's see. So Tesla has selected Samsung to manufacture some of its artificial intelligence chips. Remember, I told you all that I've been explaining this for the past 2 weeks, that keep an eye out on Tesla. Tesla is transitioning from a automaker, EV automaker, to a tech company. All right. And don't be fooled by the robo taxi service that launched in June. All right. It's not just a service, it's an application of AI. The third arm for Tesla will be AI, right? And they will be monetizing AI using AI driven services, as well as monetizing the data accumulated from the application of AI, right? So currently their business is 90% EV automotive, 10% energy. They're doing quite a bit in the energy sector as well. So keep an eye out on that. Let me pause and make sure I'm not missing anyone's questions. Thank you all for the likes. I appreciate that. Red man, love it, love it, love it. Appreciate all the support. Thank you all. I want to give a special thanks for everyone that supported me and took me from 50 followers in the past 2 weeks up to over 300. Man, that's amazing. So appreciate that. Let me just pause quickly and scroll up and make sure I'm not missing any questions here. Okay, cool. I don't see any questions. All right, so I'll go ahead and continue with the pre-market. Feel free to drop your questions in the live chat if you have any questions. All right, so yeah, so Samsung is selected to manufacture some of Tesla's artificial intelligence chips. All right, so let's see. Samsung's giant new Texas fab will be dedicated to making Tesla's next gen AI 6 chip. The strategic importance of this is hard to overstate. Musk tweeted on Sunday, adding that Samsung agreed to allow Tesla to assist in maximizing manufacturing efficiency. I told you all last week, for the past 2 weeks. I said, look out, be on the lookout for this. Why? Because it's the application of AI. And to maximize how to improve the chip, you need data. You need data. So this is a partnership. Obviously, Elon was looking for more like a win-win, right? And maybe, AMD or Nvidia didn't offer the deal that Samsung was willing to offer. Okay. So this is a partnership. You can see there's a win-win for both parties, right? Samsung gets to compete and be more of a competitor against, competitors like AMD and Nvidia and so forth. And yeah, this is probably going to be really, really exciting. So I will walk through the production line personally to accelerate the pace of progress. Samsung makes Tesla. Okay, so that's all we need for that. That's really good news coming until today. So Tesla could move today, y'all. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Tesla might move today. Tesla might move today. Oh man, I'm excited. I'm really excited, man. This could be crazy. This could be, yo, I made when Elon began to get into that little spat with Trump earlier, and Tesla begins to nosedive at that point. I made what was it? I think it was like $4,000 or something like that on that day. It was like 3.5K or like $4,000. All right. And I took a relatively small position. But if I had stayed in the whole trade, that would have been a 10 to 15K day. Easily, right? And so today could be that, similar, right? When Tesla, makes these types of moves. And when news like this drops, that's why I said this is why you want to take a look at the news that has been dropping recently, as well as the scheduled news that could either positively or negatively impact the market. So this type of news is really, really good for companies like Tesla. As we can see, if we go back, Tesla's up 1.47%. It's up 320 last week. It closed at 316. So Friday closed at 316. It went up $10. Okay, Friday. Friday it went up $10. So today, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. All right, so coming into today, let me go ahead and switch to the chart. Let me go ahead and switch to the chart and pull up the 1 minute chart. I'm on Trading View for those of you who are interested. Feel free to follow along. Thank you all for the love. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I love it. Appreciate it. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat. All right, if you have any. And I will pause periodically and answer each of your questions. All right, so let me pull this up. Oops. Let me shrink this down. Let me just reset this. All right, cool. So you should be able to see the shaded region here, the yellow shaded region here. This shaded region here, from here to this point, represents the pre-market session. All right, the pre-market opens at 3 a.m. Central, 4 a.m. Eastern. Okay, and it ends at 8:30 a.m. Central, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So that's the pre-market session. All right. And within this session, we simply want to mark out the high, the highest point the stock price rose, and the lowest point the stock price fell within this session. Okay. And I'm going to zoom in here just so you all can see this a little bit more clearly. Okay. So you may not see the words on these labels, but you can see the color. All right. So let me enable my drawing tool so I can highlight a couple of things here. All right. So this green line here. Oops. Let me move this out the way. This green line here that I just circled, this represents the previous day high. All right. Previous day high. Below it, we have the pre-market high. And this section here is the pre-market low. Okay. So notice that the current stock price is near the pre-market low. Okay. Now the previous day low isn't in play at the moment because it is far away. All right. It's off screen right now. You can't even see it. I think the label that I have on the screen is hiding it just a little bit. All right. So let me clean up my screen. All right, so let me zoom in. We're going to talk about what we're expecting coming into today. All right, there was a huge gap up in the pre-market open today. So we're going to take a look at that as well. So let me adjust the screen, switch this. All right. Okay, so now let me switch drawing tools just here for a sec. All right, so you should be able to see my arrow currently. That way you can make sure you're able to follow along. All right, so you can see this this part of the shaded section, this blue highlighted section here, this is the post market. This is from Friday. All right. This is from Friday. Like I said, this yellow highlighted region from this point to this point, this is the pre-market session. Okay. So Friday, you can see at this level, this is where the stock price end. This is where it closed. Okay. Now you can see in the pre-market open today, we gapped up. A gap up means there was no candle from this point to this point. All right. There's a huge gap here from where we closed on Friday to where we opened today. That's why I said, look at the news. We took a look at news and we could see why what potentially caused this gap up, right? There's a lot of excitement around Tesla today. Investors are showing that. You can see that demonstrated in the activity. Look, not only did we gap up, but we made a significant push toward the upside, right? And this is pretty significant. I haven't seen this type of activity in Tesla's pre-market for a while. All right, so this is pretty nice. Now, what we want to see is wherever we started, if we drew out a line, I'm not going to draw it just yet because we already have that drawn out here with the pre-market low. This is the lowest point. The stock price fell from where it began. All right, so from where we opened in the pre-market, this is also the lowest point where the price may have failed. All right, so we have this point here, and then we have this point here. So we have two touches to this zone. Okay, keep that in mind. This is what we like to call a retest of that same level. So we began here, we began at this pricing zone, and we also came back to retest it again. And notice buyers did not let us fall below that pricing zone just yet. We could fall. There is potential for us to fall below this pricing zone once the market opens. We'll just have to see. But the stock looks strong. The stock looks strong. You can see it. The stock looks strong. Okay. So here's what I'm looking for coming into today. Let me push this over just a little bit, get some more real estate. I'm going to zoom out, stretch this out just a little bit more so we can see everything on the screen here. All right. I want to make sure you all can see this clearly. All right, cool. So take a look at this. Here's what I'm looking for coming into today. Let me activate my drawing tool. So notice we have a wick here. I'm going to draw this out. Okay, so from this line to the yellow line here, this is where the wick is. Okay, so from the lowest point, which is this yellow line, to the line that I just drew on the chart. Okay, this is the wick. All right, this is that indication that buyers stepped in aggressively to begin pushing the price back up again. Now, notice I talked about the type of candles that you want to see on the chart to represent that activity. Okay, that buyers are stepping in aggressively. Look at the size of this candle here. Look at the size of this candle. It is definitely distinct from the size of these other green candles. Okay, look at this. Now, what we're looking for, remember what I talked about, what we're looking for when we enter a trade, the type of confirmation that we're looking for is we're looking for the wick on the previous down close candles. Remember, the red candles represent sellers. In my case, my candles are not red. I changed the color from red to purple, but the purple candles represent sellers. Why did I change the color? Well, it's very simple. I don't want to see red on my charts. All right. I don't want to see red on my charts. Red represents stop. I don't want to see that because I don't plan on stopping, right? Purple represents royalty. Green represents money. So in either direction, we get paid, right? As a stock options trader, in either direction, we make money. Like I showed you, Thursday was a quick trade toward the downside, right? The stock was falling. So I made a quick $430 in 26 seconds. It doesn't matter what direction the stock trends, whether the price is going up or down, we can make money. So we don't care. We just want to know that we're entering into the right position, right? We don't want to enter in a position toward the downside if the stock is increasing in price. We don't want to enter a position toward the upside if the stock is decreasing in price, right? So we just want to make sure we're entering in the correct position, which is why we stay abreast on the news that is dropping. All right. So let me continue. All right. So this is what we're looking for. This is the down close candle. Sellers were trying to push the price lower, but they did not succeed. Buyer said, we're stepping in here and we're stepping in here aggressively. And you can tell with this green bullish candle here. All right. And they just continue. Look at this trend. They continue. So if I scroll over just a little bit, we're still pushing up. All right. Sellers are trying to fight back. You can see with these three down close candles here, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So coming until today, here's what I'm looking for. Let me get rid of this, clean this up just a little bit. Clean up the chart. I'm going to zoom out. All right, so here's what I'm looking for. We marked out the pre-market high, which is this. We marked out the pre-market low, which is this. The previous day high and the previous day low is not currently in play, but I will zoom out just a little bit so we can see the previous day high. The previous day low is really not in play unless we drop heavy in the open. I don't expect that to happen today. Anything's possible. I just don't expect that to happen given the news that has dropped recently. All right. So let's take a look at what we're expecting coming until today. Remember, we just retested the pre-market low here just a moment ago. Okay. We just retested the pre-market low. This is what I would expect coming into the market open today. I'm going to go over a few scenarios that could happen. All right. The scenarios that I mentioned last week happened exactly as we discussed. All right. This is what, so you could have made money same way I did. I was in the green because we did our due diligence. We took a look at what the stock had done and what news was dropping. We prepared ourselves and we had a green week. All right. Last week. So that's why preparation is key. So coming into the market open today, here's what I expect. I expect buyers to maintain this current pre-market low of 319.50. So we might see some consolidation coming into the market open today, and we might see us make our way toward the pre-market low again. And we will have to check the reaction off of this key level. Okay. If buyers hold this level, okay, if they hold this level, then we could look to enter a trade toward the upside. Okay. And I already showed you the type of candle that I'm looking for. I'm looking for buyers to step in aggressively. So that means I want to see momentum. I want to see speed and momentum. That's what I'm looking for to enter a larger position trade. All right, this week. If I don't see speed and momentum with Tesla today, then I'm not going to take a larger position, which I mentioned was a 10K to 50K. Otherwise, I'm going to take, there's still going to be the cheaper contracts because I still want you all to see what one contract could do. All right. So that's going to be key. I'm still going to take the cheaper contracts. I'm just going to take a much larger position if I see speed and momentum. That means the candles, each candle on this chart, remember, I'm on the 1 minute chart. I want to make that clear for those of you trying to follow along on TradingView. TradingView is a free application. You could jump on TradingView right now if you want, pull up Tesla. You don't even have to create an account to follow along. Okay. So I'm on the Tesla chart. The time frame that I'm on currently is the 1 minute chart. What does that mean for all of you who might be completely new to day trading? The 1 minute chart simply means that every candle that is formed on this chart is 60 seconds in duration. All right, 60 seconds in duration. And what happens is the stock begins to, as the candle is forming, the clock begins to tick down. Notice that. So we're on every 60 seconds, a new candle forms and then the clock ticks down. Okay. So then we start a new candle, minute 1, and we count down. Okay. So that's what happens on the 1 minute time frame. All right. So if I zoom in and help you all see that each of these represents a different time frame, 5 minutes. That means every candle on that time frame is 5 minutes and so on. 15-minute candles, 1 hour candle, 4 hour candles. The daily This is the daily. That means every candle is 24 hours. All right. Every candle is 24. The weekly, every candle represents 1 week. And the monthly, every candle represents 1 month. All right. So I'm on the 1 minute time frame. Okay. We're on the Tesla chart, and the time frame we selected is the 1 minute time frame. Okay. So I just want to make that distinction. Now, remember, price can only go in two directions. And what we're looking for coming until today is I expect a little bit of consolidation and a move back towards the pre-market low. This will be great. This will be a great sign, because if we see buyers step in aggressively to begin pushing the price back up, we're looking for our entry. That's what we're looking for. So if we see buyers stepping in aggressively with speed and momentum, we will look to enter our position here. Okay, here at the line that I just drawn. All right, or just drew. Okay, and where would we look to exit? Well, we can mark out two levels. We have a high of day after the market opened, right? What was the highest price the stock rose when the market opened? So we could look to enter our position here for continuation toward the upside and look to exit our position at this point. High of day, high of day. Okay. If you only bought one contract, this is where you want to exit your position. Okay. You would want to exit your position if you're only able to buy one contract. Okay. That's what's critical. If you're able to buy, let's say, for example, two or more contracts, I'm going to use two contracts for this case, then you could sell one contract at this point. And then if we have continuation, the next level we can mark out is where we see resistance. I'm just going to mark out this level here because we touched this point several times, right? Here, I'm going to draw it out. The points we touched this level. Okay. Boom. So hopefully you can see those markings that I just ticked on this line here. So we touched this point several times. So this could be the next level we look to exit the position. So your second contract you'd sell once you reach near this level, at that level, or even slightly above that level, but it doesn't have to be exact. You just want to get near that point in, profit, right? So it doesn't have to be exact. As long as you see a push toward that level with speed and momentum, that's when you can look to exit. Don't stay in, don't overstay your welcome, because then you can start to lose money. I went over that last week, and that's how that one red trade of $480 happened. I was actually in the green. I was actually up $300. I stayed in too long, and the trade quickly turned from green to red. So be careful. When you have your target, stick to your target. Don't try to be greedy and get more money. All right. Get your money that you receive, see profit, take profit, and then wait for a new reentry if you want to. All right. But that's what could happen coming in today. If you bought 3 or 4 contracts, then you could scale out the second contract here. So now if you have 4 contracts, you're out 50% of your position. If buyers continue to push the price higher, our next level we could look to exit would be the pre-market high. Okay. So we have 3 levels drawn out here. We have our point of entry from the retest. All right. And then we have the high of day, and you can exit your position completely at high of day. And that's if you really want to get in and out. All right. If you want to get in and out, you could be done with this trade within the first 1 to 3 minutes. It could happen just that quickly. Like I said, I made $430 Thursday in 26 seconds. It doesn't take long. All right. It doesn't take long. So you can make money very, very quickly. But as soon as you get that money, as soon as you see that profit, like I said, see it, take it. All right. Don't overstay your welcome. Get in, get out. But if you bought 4 contracts, if you're able to buy multiple contracts, that is the ultimate goal, because you do want to leave trailing contracts. Trust me. This is what my mentor taught me. You will see, and when you see it, you'll be very, very, very excited about this. Those trailing contracts, people, will grow in value exponentially. It is crazy. It is crazy. When you see it, this is why you see on social media, people posting those enormous gains, right? Because if you leave a contract running, and it jumps up $5 or $10 or something crazy like that, that one contract could grow in value exponentially. I mean, if you bought $100 contract, just as an example, it could grow 2, 3, 4, 5 times in value, just like that, just like that. And so, if Tesla does what I expect it to do coming into today, the value of those contracts could grow exponentially. I mean, quick. And so a $10,000 position could grow to 15, 20, $25,000, just like that, man. My mentor did it several times last week already. He made over 150,000 these past 2 weeks. That's just how crazy it could get, man. So anyway, that's one scenario. All right, so let me clean up the charts here. Let me erase this. And let's talk about the second scenario that could happen today. Let me clean this up. And then I'll try to get to some questions here in a second. But I want to wrap up this first, and then I'll pause and take a look at any questions. And if I don't get to your questions during the live session, I'll go back and check out all the comments, and then I'll DM you directly the answers to your questions. So don't worry, if you have to drop, if you can't hang on and you have to drop before I answer your question, I will get to them. And also feel free to request a DM if you want to rewatch this and learn at your own pace. Just DM me and I'll send you the link so you can access this replay as well as future replays in one single folder. All right. So here's the next scenario that I expect coming into today. Oh, wow. Look at this. Look at this candle here that just dropped. All right. Look at this. Look at this. Let me zoom in. Look at this. Look at this candle here. This is a down close candle. So sellers, look how it's dropping. Look how it's dropping. Look at that. That's speed and momentum. This is what I'm talking about when I talked about speed and momentum. If you see buyers stepping in, obviously in this direction, sellers are moving. They're stepping in aggressively to push that price back down. They want price to go back down. They don't want price to go back up. It's a constant battle between these two groups, right? So this is what I talked about when I said speed and momentum. If I see that, that's when I'm jumping into the trade. Okay, because you want to capture that, because when that happens, man, your money is growing like that. I'm telling you, it's exciting to see when you're in it, especially when it's working in your favor, right? When it's working against you, you don't want to see it. But when it's working in your favor, that's exactly what you want to see. That speed and momentum, because the value of the contracts you bought begins growing so fast, so quickly. All right. So you can see that these down close candles are growing quickly. So this was the second scenario that I was just about to mention. And I'm glad that it happened so I can show you a visual example of what that will look like. So coming into today, when the market opens, we could see a significant drop in price in that first candle on this 1 minute time frame. Okay. This is what we could see when the market opens. Now, what I would be looking for is the reaction off of this level here. Let me move this up so you guys can see that. I think this label might be blocking your view. Let me pull this up. Okay, cool. So you should be able to see this clearly now. Let me re-enable my drawing tool. So if we have this significant drop right at the open in that first candle, what we'll be looking for is the reaction off of this key level, right? Will sellers continue to push the price lower, or will buyers step in and hold this level? Okay, that's the two things we're looking for. Again, price can only go in two directions. This is what makes trading so simple. And you can see visually on the chart, if you have eyes to see, this is not complicated to read the chart. So don't be deceived when people tell you, it's too complicated. This is not complicated, people. You can see, I just showed you, you can see when buyers and sellers are stepping in. You can see when the momentum dies down, if candles are forming very, very slowly, that means there's not a lot of volume or no one's really interested. All right. But when news drops, you can see people these candles start to form very, very quickly. All right. So this is what we'll be looking for, the reaction off of this key level. If buyers step in, cool. That's one thing. We'll look for that up close aggressive candle, and we can look to enter our position toward the upside. However, if sellers continue to push the stock lower, like so, Okay. Then what we could be looking for, let me shorten this a little bit, is what? The same thing that I've been discussing every single live session is a retest, a retest. So we're waiting for a breakout below a key level or above a key level. The key level that we have in frame today is the pre-market right now is the pre-market low, the pre-market low. So if sellers step in aggressively to push the price lower and we break below the pre-market low, this will be considered our low of day. And we're waiting for a retest back to this key level. Okay. We could come near it. We can come at or even slightly above it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be exact. Just keep that in mind. We just need a retest near, at, or even slightly above this level. Okay. And what we want to see is the same thing, just in reverse. We want to see if sellers are going to hold this position. Now, um, I don't expect Hey, what's up, Bruce? I see your request. However, I'm not accepting co-host at the moment. But if you want to join me as a co-host, if you just want to ask your question verbally or share some insight, I am fine with that. I'm okay with that. But let me know in the live chat your reason for wanting to join the as a co-host before I accept your request. Okay. So I want to prepare the viewers because I don't want people to be distracted. I want people to learn and not be distracted. And so a lot of people jump on my live to learn, and I don't want I don't want to ruin that experience for people. Okay. All right. So if we want sellers to hold this key level, this is simple. And I use very, very simple language to explain these concepts. All right. So if sellers do that, if sellers hold this key level, then we're looking for the same speed and momentum, just in reverse, right? We want to see a candle with speed and momentum begin to form on this 1 minute chart. Okay. On this 1 minute chart, we want to see that candle begin to form, right? And if that happens, we can look to enter our position here. And if we only have one contract, where are we looking to exit? Where are we looking to exit? Low of day. Low of day. If you only have one contract, you're looking for continuation by sellers we just want to reach near this level. It doesn't have to be exact. We just want to reach near low of day. All right. It's great if you can reach and break up below low of day. That would be great, but it doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen all the time. You want to get your money. You see profit, take the profit. All right. Take the profit and then start again, rinse and repeat the following day or the next day. Okay. So if you only have one contract, you look to exit your position here. If you have multiple contracts, then you can leave trailing contracts toward the downside. Okay. So let me clean up the chart again. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. Now, again, I don't expect, let me zoom out so you all can see the previous day low. The previous day low is approximately $11 away. Hopefully you all can see that on my screen here. This is the red line here. It's $11 away. We moved $10 on Friday. I don't expect us to drop $11 coming into the open today, given the news that has dropped recently about the moves that Tesla is making. We saw with the activity so far within the pre-market that, and this is key. Let me zoom out so you all can see this. I'm going to zoom out. Yeah, I don't expect us to drop $11. Okay, so now that I'm zooming out, let me show you all this. All right. Let me know. Hopefully you all can see this clearly. Let me stretch this out just a little bit more. All right. So remember I talked about that retest. Let me re-enable my tools here. So look, we have a touch point here. We have a slight touch here. This is almost, but not quite. Almost, but not quite. And then we have a third touch here. And then a fourth here. This is great news, okay? Because look at the candles Look at these two significant candles here. All right. If I stretch this out, this candle, and then we have this candle here. All right. So buyers are stepping up. They're trying to push back. All right. We touched this point 4 times already. Ooh, look at sellers. Ooh. So now we look, we're right back to the pre-market low, right back to the pre-market low. Let me push this up a little bit so y'all can see that. This is crazy. This is crazy. Sellers are really trying to step in and push this price lower. They're really fighting. They tried 4 times already and did not succeed. So we'll stay tuned and see what happens. Okay. They could, oh man, they might push it. Okay. They just pushed it a little lower, but buyers seem to be stepping in aggressively. Man, let me zoom in so you all can see this a little bit. I just want you all to see this candle. Look at that. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Okay, sellers are really fighting right now. It's like they're fighting for their life right now. This is crazy. Okay, so buyers, you see how that wick is forming? That's how the wicks are formed. Look at how we quickly turn from purple to green. So if buyers continue to do this into the open today, this is what I'm looking for. This is how we know we have 4 confirmations that buyers were not willing to let price fall too low, too far below the initial pre-market low. Okay. So this is what we'll continue to look for. So they fought back, and the candle closed green. It was purple, but it closed green. So buyers won that battle. They tried. We got to give them a round of applause. The sellers tried. They just failed. All right. They just didn't succeed. All right. So the last scenario that I'll be looking for coming into today, let me reset my chart. All right, let me give us some more real estate and reset this. All right, so this is the last scenario I will be expecting coming into today. So we talked about 2 already, and here's what I'm really looking forward to, and this is what will determine if I enter a larger position of, let's say, 10 to 50K. Like I said, if I see at the open buyers step in aggressively, I mean, within like the first 2 to 3 candles, and begin pushing that stock price up, this is what I'll be looking for. If we begin to retest, pull back toward the pre-market low, I would like to see a retest back towards this level. Okay. So we can start off very aggressively, right? Buyers pushing the stock price up within the first 3, 1 to 3 candles. I want to see a significant push, right? At least $3, $3 or $4 push right at the open. Okay. That's what I'd like to see. And if that happens, then I want to see sellers step in to push the price lower back towards the pre-market low. And I want to see for the 5th time, all right, it's confirmation that buyers step in aggressively to begin pushing that stock price back up again. Because a $3 move with a 10 to 50K position could net me 2 to 3 times as much as my position. Okay. That's just as an FYI. So that 10K position, I can make 10, 20, 30, 40%, as high as 100% return on that investment. So that 10,000 can make me 20. Okay. But yeah, that's what I'd be looking for. Speed and momentum. Keep that in mind. Speed and momentum. So we can look to enter our position here. And where's our target? High of day. High of day. All right. This is the highest price the stock price rose once the market opened. Okay. If you only bought 1 contract, then you're looking for a continuation towards high of day. It doesn't have to reach it and touch it exactly. You just need to see a big push in that direction. And within that candle, within that same candle before it closed, that's when you could take or exit your position and take profit, right? Secure your profits. That's the name of the game. See profit, take profit. All right. So let me pause it there. And the market is going to open in 18 minutes. Yes, Let me pause and answer some questions. Let me pause and answer some questions. All right. Let's see. Miss Living Now, I would love the handle. I love your handle. If you're still on, if you're still tuned in, you asked, is this Tesla? Yes, this is Tesla. This is definitely Tesla. And the same strategy goes for any stock that you want to trade. Again, I'm trading stock options, not the shares themselves. I'm not buying shares. I'm trading stock options, which is to say that you're buying the rights for to the shares in large numbers of shares, but you can do so in a very affordable way. It's cheap to do this, and you can make significant money. But yes, this is Tesla. Queen Harms. I think that's how you pronounce that. If I mispronounced it, let me know. I apologize. Your question is, how do you know in that moment to enter a call or a put? And this is what I talked about. When you see when you see on the chart, what I talked about is drawing out a key level. All right. This key level is the pre-market low. Now, for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to say you need key levels drawn out. All right. I talked about in previous sessions how to draw out those key levels, but I'm just going to use this for an example. We have the pre-market high and the pre-market low. And these levels were drawn using the highest price, or excuse me, the highest point, the price rose, and the lowest point, the price fell. All right. You can see this is the lowest point, the price fell. You draw out those key levels to box in that activity. Okay. And then what you're waiting for using the breakout and retest strategy, there are hundreds, thousands of strategies that you could choose from. I like the breakout and retest strategy because of its simplicity. It's very easy to understand its concept, the core concept of it, and how it works. And you can use this for any stock that you want to trade. Okay. All right. So to learn to identify when to enter your trade is you're waiting for a break above that key level, whatever key level you drawn out. So in this case, if this is the pre-market low, excuse me, because this is the pre-market low and this is the pre-market high, we boxed in this activity. You don't want to trade in this zone right here. You want to ignore everything that's happening in between the box. All right. The high point and the low point, you ignore everything in between. Okay. What you're looking for is either a break above that and then a retest back to that level. Okay. Use this drawing as an example of what I'm referring to. You want a break above and then a retest back to that level. And what you're looking for is an indication that buyers are going to continue to push the price higher. So you'll see that when you see the candle form quickly with speed and momentum. Each candle will be forming very quickly, and you'll see the distinction in the size of the candle as versus the other sizes of the candles, right? Will be much larger or longer, like a longer candle, and that's what you're looking for. So either a break above and a retest back to that key level, or a break below and a retest back to that level. Okay. And then you're waiting for, if it's to the downside, sellers to step in aggressively to push the price lower. If it's toward the upside, you're looking for buyers to step in aggressively to push the price higher. So you said, how do you know that in that moment to enter a call or put? That's how you determine. You box in the activity. I'm using the pre-market. Okay, I'm using the pre-market. So when the market opens, we're using the pre-market high and the pre-market low. When the market opens, we're waiting for a break above either of these. Okay, either of these when the market opens. And that, once you have that, you're waiting for the price to either break above and retest that level or break below, retest that level. And that's when you can look to enter your trade. Queen, did that answer your question? Let me know in the chat if that's good for you. Queen, you also had another question. Let's see, you said I sent a DM for Discord and all the replays, please. Yes, I got you, Queen. If you send me the DM after this live session, I'm going to lock in with you and send that to you. Okay. Will you be live trading for us to follow along? No, but I will. Here's what I decided to do, because Friday I wanted to um, go live to grant free access to watch my mentor trade live. And so I talked about that Friday, but Friday they had technical difficulties with the Wi-Fi. They were traveling to Dubai at the moment last week, and so they had Wi-Fi difficulties. So today, I said that if they go live today, I'm going to go live and grant free access so you all can see the breakout and retest strategy live in action. So what I'll do is I'll end this live. I'll end this live before the market opens. They're going to get started at 8:25 Central, 9:25 Eastern. Okay. So I'm going to end this live and then I'll jump back on quickly, right? As soon as I end, I'm going to jump back on quickly because I need to retitle that live session to the live session instead of the live pre-market. Okay. And then you can quickly rejoin that session and stay tuned and watch my mentor trade live in action. Okay. The simple breakout and retest strategy. So those of you who are interested, stay tuned. I'm going to end this live and then quickly open up a new live with a new title. Okay. And if I didn't get to your questions during this live session, I promise after after that live session, I'll go back and recheck all the comments and sections and I'll DM you if I missed you. All right. And let's see. Since we're getting close, let me go ahead and pause on the questions here because we're really close and I need to open up the new live and get prepared for that live session. So you don't want to miss it if you're interested in that. And if you can't make it, that's okay. No worries. Just DM me and I will send you that live replay. All right. I will send you that live replay. I'll send you both. If you want this pre-market live replay as well as the live session with my mentor, I will send you both. I will send you a link, one single link to access all the replays in one folder. All right. So I apologize if I didn't get to your question during this live session, but I will, I promise, after the market session is over. All right. So I'm going to end this live and I'm going to start a new one. I appreciate all the support, all the love, all the likes, all the follows. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I really appreciate that. All right. So I'm going to end this and then you can quickly join the next new live. All right.